Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AquaChannel Europe. Next to me is a same good badass like I am, and we're gonna talk with Andrew Lim, a Malaysian guppy breeder, about the differences of guppy breeding between Europe or the Western world and the Eastern world. So Andrew, thanks for being here. And can you give us some main differences in guppy breeding between Asia and Europe or America?
Well, I think the main difference between breeders in Asia is most of them, they are keeping the tanks is automatic, so it's system tank, and they put a lot of sands and gravels into the tanks, and it saves a lot of time and energy, and of course some money for electricity to get water change, and it's easier for the breeders to select a female and male once they reach 1.5 or 2 months. And rental and electricity might be cheaper than in Europe, so breeders in Asia, they tend to get lots of tanks, and they will get more and more and more as the hobby grows.
So that means Asian people take more care of the sizes of their tanks, so that they have lots of tanks to get more selection, or how can I understand this?
I wouldn't say that they take more cares about the tank, but usually the size of the tank is about 20 cm by 25, and depth is about 35. And the system tanks has an automatic water changing system. The water drips from the reservoir on the top, and it comes down to every tank. You can adjust the dripping time and how fast it's going to be, so you can go away to do your job, whatever, and then come back again to feed a fish or do some cleaning of the tanks. It's going to be easy.
Okay. So the next question I want to ask is, are there also any differences in the standards of guppy breeding? Like, we have our German or European standards, and are there any big differences in Asia?
That's a very, very big difference. In Europe, we practice EKGH. So the classification is by the shape of the tail. So there are 16 types of tail shape. That means there are 16 categories in European standard. While in Asia, we practice the classification of the groups by strain. So that means full red, for example, full red will go to full red, Moscow blue will go to Moscow blue, filigrane by himself, and grass by himself, and mosaic will be by itself, and short tail, that's one category, and sword. We're going to classify, combine the top sword, bottom sword, and double sword all into one group. That is sword. Okay. So that's a big difference. And we also have a group called AOC, which means all other color or all other category. So whatever that don't belong to the above will go to AOC. For example, metal. In Asia we call metal head, and in European they call Moscow. So they will go into AOC, and also sometimes it depends on the country that hosts the show. Some country will have an albino group, and also a swallow or ribbon group.
Okay.
Yep.
So sounds really interesting that you have these big differences in standard. So the last question I want to ask you is about the business itself. In Germany, well, guppies are famed, but the breeders, there are not lots of big breeders. How is it in Asia? Are there lots of breeders who do breeding, guppy breeding for profession, or are there more hobby guys?
Well, I would say that most of the breeders in Asia, they breed guppy is for hobby, is their passion. So of course, there are some breeders who turn their passion into
Their
profession. Yeah, so they're gonna make money out of that. And in Asia, a pair of good grade of guppy can cost about €30 up to €100. So that encourage people to keep guppy in a more high standard type of breeding, which means to cull an unwanted fish and try to do some genetic studies and also selective breeding, so they can catch up with other breeders. Otherwise, you keep a guppy and you won't be able to appreciate what you're having.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really encourage people to keep up to standard.
Okay. So Andrew, thanks for the interview. It was really interesting to see the differences, and I hope that you have a great journey back home. And
very much.
all the best for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.